What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be taking a look at this contraption right here. This is the PD Movie Live Air wireless follow focus system. All right, so first things first, I just want to say that I'm not really a huge fan of gear reviews, mainly because I think that gear reviews are very subjective to each individual. For instance, something that works really well for me and fits with my style of shooting and my workflow may not work for you. So if I review a product, it's really based off of my experiences with it, as to where your experience with the same exact product could be way better than mine. So I'm not much of a reviewer. Let's look at this as more of an overview, a product overview. I'm just gonna kind of tell you guys about this product, give you my quick little 2 cents about it, and hopefully you can make a better decision whether or not you need something like this in your life or not. So the Live Air 2 is pretty small and compact. It's also very lightweight, but it's built very good from what I can tell. It's made out of metal and a little bit of plastic here and there, but for the most part, it's built pretty dang good, and I'm actually really impressed with the build quality. I'm a huge build quality guy. Like, I love when things are built tough because I beat the crap out of my gear. It just happens, you know, sometimes you whack something or you bang into something, it happens, you know what I mean? Like, your gear's gonna get beat up the more you use it, so if it's built good, that's always a plus. Okay, so before we get any further, some of you may be wondering, you know, what is a wireless follow focus and why would you want to use one? If you're someone like me and you like to shoot on these old vintage lenses that don't have autofocus, or if you're using cinema lenses that also don't support autofocus, you need a way to be able to pull focus while you're shooting. Now, typically, if you're shooting handheld, you can just kind of hold your camera like this and just turn the focus ring and pull your own focus just like that. But what happens if you're on a gimbal or a glide cam and you need some way to make sure that your image and your subject is staying in focus the entire time? This is where your wireless follow focus comes in. The beauty of this wireless follow focus is that it's pretty small and compact, and overall it doesn't add much bulk to your rig. So this pretty much just consists of 2 components. Right here you have the focus motor itself, and in my hand, as you guys can see, I have the wireless controller. The motor and the controller connect to each other via Bluetooth, and there's really no latency. When I turn the controller wheel over here, it seems to be working like instantaneous, which is a really, really huge plus when you need a system like this. You want something with low latency, so that way there, when you make your adjustments with the controller, your lens is reacting in real time, so that way there you're keeping your subject in focus. So whenever you're using a follow focus of any kind, manual or wireless, you need to have focus gears on your lens. If you don't have focus gears on your lens, you will not be able to use this product because the teeth on the motor won't be able to catch onto your lens, which won't allow it to turn the focus ring, which won't allow you to catch focus. So if you need focus gears, you can buy one of those like cheap focus gear things that you wrap around your lens, which I really do not recommend. I've tried those and I just think that they stink. If you need focus gears for your lens, go to followfocusgears.com. They make their focus gears fitted specifically to each lens, and if you go on their website, you can scroll through and pick out which lens you have, order a focus gear, slap it on your lens, and you're in business. All right, so getting back on topic about the Live Air, it's actually got a pretty cool feature that allows you to set focus points between 2 subjects. But to be honest, I'm not really ever gonna use that feature, so I just kind of felt obligated to tell you guys that it does have that feature, and if that's something that interests you, keep that in the back of your mind. So PD Movie also makes their own app that you can download right onto your phone or a tablet or something that connects right to the motor, and you can make adjustments to the motor. You can pull focus, set those A and B points, do whatever you gotta do directly from the app. Personally, probably never gonna use it, but again, just so you guys may like to know that it is an option and it is something that they offer. All right, so let's talk about some of the pros and the cons of the PD Movie Live Air 2. All right, so first, let's start with the pros. The motor and the controller are both powered internally, which means that you don't need to add a USB-C cable or a micro USB cable to the motor to power it. You don't need to plug anything into the controller to power it. They both have their own batteries, which is just a huge plus for me. The system is pretty small and light. Considering that the motor has its own battery built in, it's still pretty small and compact, which is a plus if you're using this on a gimbal or a glide cam setup. The build quality, like I said before, is also very, very good, so that's another pro. It's got a pretty simple, you know, 1-button operation. There's only 1 button here on the controller, also 1 button on the motor, which if you click it a certain number of times, it does a certain function. So to me, that's a plus because there's only one button. So another pro is that the controller's focus wheel is actually pretty small. So if you're using this by yourself on a gimbal, you can just use one finger to rack focus all the way from infinity to the minimum, and it's a super easy operation. You just need one finger. And I think the biggest pro about them all is that there's barely any lag when you turn the focus wheel on the controller. The motor reacts right away, which is obviously very, very important when you're pulling focus. All right, now let's get into some of the cons about the system. To me, one of the biggest cons is that the motor's battery only runs for 4 hours, while the controller's battery runs for 8 hours. To me, that's just a pretty big annoyance because now I have to think about when this battery is gonna die, and when it does die, I have to take the time to swap it out with another battery, and I have to make sure that the other battery is charged. It's just annoying. Just make this battery last longer. So like I said before, some of the pros were also cons, and this next con is that there's only one button for the entire operation of this system. To me, this is a bit of a negative because the Live Air has so many different features that you need to kind of memorize. Okay, I need to click this 3 times to get to this feature. I need to click this twice and hold it for 5 seconds. Or I need to click it 7 times continuous to get to this feature. And that can just be really annoying, but it could also be a pro. Another con is that the focus wheel on the controller is small. Now, I also said that this was a pro because if you're using this as an individual operator and you have nobody helping you on set, you're a one-man band, you can control the entire length of the focus ring with just one finger. But personally, I think this can be a con if you're using this system to hand off to an off-camera assistant that is pulling your focus for you wirelessly. When you have this little controller in both hands and using it like an actual focus puller would, this wheel is just way too small, and although it does work, you want a wheel that's bigger, that's gonna give you a more precise and a more accurate focus pull. Another con is that the motor doesn't have an on and off switch. The way you turn it on is to put the battery in, and the way to turn it off is to take the battery out. That to me is annoying because every time I want to turn this off, I have to take the battery out and put the battery in a little pouch or a little compartment that I know I'm not gonna lose it. And knowing me, I'm probably gonna lose it. And knowing you, you might lose it too. So to me, that's a con. Just put an on and off switch, make our lives easy. All right, so the last con deals with the controller, and more specifically, the rod that allows you to clamp this to your gimbal or your rig or wherever the hell you're gonna clamp it to. This thing just sticks out like a sore thumb, gets in the way all the time, and I wish they just had a cleaner, more simpler way of adding this onto your rig. All right, so in conclusion, we got a good build quality, a small and lightweight design, a very simple interface with only one button, and an internal battery in the motor, so that way there you don't need to, run an extra cable into the motor and around your camera. That's just gonna get in the way and annoy you. So like we talked about before, there was a lot of pros about this system that could also be cons, and a lot of the cons that could also be pros. So depending on who you are as a filmmaker and how you're gonna be using this wireless follow focus is really gonna determine whether or not you wanna buy this one or another one. Hopefully this video is going to help you make a better decision on which wireless follow focus to buy, or if you need a wireless follow focus. If you don't, or maybe you guys just like watching my videos and you just want to see me talk and ramble on like a maniac. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace. Jeez. 7 minutes in, I'm ready to drink a water. So before we go any further, you guys are,